Welcome to this Good Friday reflection. You can't win a war without sacrifice. Somebody, somewhere, has to lose something, even if it's just their pride. But usually the cost of winning a war is much, much greater. Every year in November, we remember for 2 minutes those who gave their lives in past conflicts that we might enjoy the freedom that we have. Usually healthy young men sacrificing themselves for the rest of us. And it's interesting how in the present conflict against a virus, war language has been used in just the same way. It's a battle. The virus is the invisible enemy. The National Health Service is on the front line. The enemy is going about trying to claim lives. And we're trying to save them. And very often those on the front line in the National Health Service are putting themselves in great danger and sometimes, sadly, giving their lives in sacrifice for the sake of those they're trying to save. And to stop this virus and to win this battle, we all have to play our part as a nation. We all need to make sure that we stay indoors as much as possible. We need to sacrifice our freedom for a little while and maybe sacrifice our economy for a little bit longer. It might take years for it to recover, but that's the way wars go. Many older people will remember how it took years after the World War, and there was rationing and there were coupons for years to come. In fact, right now there's rationing of toilet rolls. That's a present reality. But all wars, even if they last for years, do come to an end. And the war against COVID-19 will also come to an end. But there's one war which has been raging since the dawn of human memory and will continue to the end of time. It was a war which began in the Garden of Eden when Eve disobeyed the one instruction that God gave her, not to eat of the fruit of that tree in the middle of the garden. But a little voice in her ear, that little voice of the serpent, persuaded her to do the one thing she shouldn't do. And ever since then, that little voice has also been at work in our lives, persuading us to do things we shouldn't do, tempting us, causing us to doubt, making us feel guilt. As a result of their sin, Adam and Eve were cast out of the Garden of Eden. That perfect place was no longer a fit place for human beings who were no longer perfect. But God still showed his concern for them. God had not abandoned them. God replaced their fig leaves with the skins of animals. I don't know if it was a sheepskin or an Afghan coat or a fur coat or whatever it was that they were clothed with. But for them to be clothed with animal skins, an animal had to die. A sacrifice had to be made. And that was how God covered their nakedness, their guilt, their shame. On Good Friday, we stand before the cross and remember how there the Lamb of God gave his life for us. The Lamb of God, a name for Jesus, perfect and sinless, loved by God, and because of his love for the whole world, gave his life on that cross as a sacrifice for the sin of the whole world. And we need that sacrifice, because we are the sinners for whom Christ died. Have you ever tried to be good, or really good? The harder you try, the greater you discover that power of evil in your own heart and your own life. We need someone else. We can't be good by ourselves. It's like trying to sew fig leaves together to cover yourself up. There's a battle going on in our hearts, and we don't always win. Very often we fail. We know that we don't live in the Garden of Eden anymore. This world is far from perfect. It's full of all kinds of troubles and difficulties, and we've enough troubles in our own lives every day, and most of them are of our own making. What can we do? We need to rip off the fig leaves that we've been trying to cover ourselves with and let God cover us. He sent his Son, and Jesus came to give his life for the sins of the world. Because of his death on the cross, we can, as it were, be clothed in his righteousness. That's how the Bible put it. Imagine putting a garment of goodness on. And when God looks at you, he doesn't see you in all your imperfection, but he sees Jesus in all his perfection. That is putting on Christ. To be on the winning side in this battle, we need to be on the Lamb's side. Now, the Lamb is a funny image for a victor, the champion, the battle winner. But that is the picture the Bible gives of Jesus, the victor, the champion, who won the war. Let's jump to the end of the story. We began with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. At the very end of the story, in Revelation chapter 5, it says this: Then I looked, and I heard the voice of many angels, numbering thousands upon thousands and 10,000 times 10,000. They encircled the throne and the living creatures and the elders. In a loud voice they sang, Worthy is the Lamb, who was slain, to receive power and wealth and wisdom and strength and honour and glory and praise. Then I heard every creature in heaven and on earth and under the earth and on the sea and all that is in them, singing, To him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb be praise and honour and glory and power forever and ever. That's at the very end. Right now it's still Good Friday. And Good Friday is good because it's not the last word. Join us on Sunday morning for what happens next. You won't believe it, but I hope you will. Let's now hear the Glasgow Orpheus Choir singing, all in an April evening, as we too think on that Lamb of God.